Blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today we finish Numbers and we finish up with chapters 34, 35, and 36. And I'm going to tell you right now, I really love the way we finish Numbers. It's going to be cool. The last day in Numbers, chapter 34 gives us the boundaries that God sets out for Israel. I mentioned that yesterday. But today we actually see them spelled out in chapter 34. Chapter 35 is really interesting because, the Levites they're not now considered one of the 12 tribes. They've been replaced because they are a chosen people representing God's firstborn. So they're a tribe of priests. They're not considered one of the 12 tribes, so they don't have an inheritance. When the Israelites come in and they start taking over Canaan and God lays out these borders, there's no place for the Levites. So he gives instructions to make towns in each one of the tribal areas, their land that they have, and to give pasture lands to the Levites and cities that they can live in, because each one of these tribes is going to need priests and Levites in their counties or states or whatever you want to call them. But within these tribes of Levi, he also sets up 6 towns of refuge. And what these basically are prisons. And they're not barred, you're not barred in, you're not put in a cell. You can come and go as you please, but you're under house arrest. And I say you come and go as you please, when you get there, you're not supposed to leave. But nobody seems to hold them there. But if they do leave and get caught outside, a family member of somebody that you killed then had the right to take your life in revenge. And these were set up, and it was only for people that were accused of murder or people who killed someone. If you killed someone or you murdered someone, you would run to one of these cities of refuge and you would stay there under house arrest with the Levites until your trial came about. And in verse 24 of chapter 35, it talks about your case coming to trial. But it also talks about something really cool. And this is a big law enforcement takeaway. And I love the fact that we're ending Numbers with a really neat law enforcement takeaway. Each one of these guys that had killed or murdered someone, and that was what they were trying to decide, whether you had killed or murdered, because that would determine your punishment. But each one was assigned what's called a blood avenger. Now, a blood avenger was the guy that would investigate your case. He would keep up with what was going on. He would kind of set your trial date before the judges. And let me just read you this. This is I found something that's called the rabbinical tradition about blood avengers. And it says, thus, he is responsible for bringing the offender to court, finding evidence against him, presenting the case to court, and collecting damages from the offender. It's an investigator. It's a law enforcement investigator, and he's called the Blood Avenger. And I thought that was just such a cool law enforcement takeaway to end this wonderful book of Numbers that we've been in for the last couple of days. So I hope you've enjoyed it like I have. We're going to get into Deuteronomy starting tomorrow. So read Deuteronomy chapters 1 and 2. Come back and let's start talking and looking for more law enforcement takeaways. Until then, you guys be safe.